Okay, so I think we talked a lot about Asteroid City. Let's go on an adventure.
Bum, ba-dum, bum.
Cue the John Williams. The other big summer blockbuster this year, the fifth installment in the Indiana Jones franchise, if you don't count the young Indiana Jones Chronicles or whatever that was. Um,
I never touched those.
yeah,
But they say this will be the final one. This is
yeah,
closing the book on Indiana Jones.
yeah,
Is the idea? I
yep,
mean, Harrison Ford's 80 years old, so I can see him wanting
yeah,
to close the book here.
yeah. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Um,
Um, I will say, I think this is the worst title of any Indiana Jones movie. Like, it,
really?
well, you just go through them. Raiders of the Lost Ark, cool. Temple of Doom, cool. Last Crusade, pretty cool. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, cool. Dial of Destiny, lame. Who cares about a dial? Nobody wants a dial or Destiny.
I like it.
And it uses alliteration, which none of the other movie titles do. It's like bad title.
Okay, well, I disagree.
You think it's a good title?
I think it's a fine title, but I mean, I guess
I mean, I liked it more after seeing the movies. Like, I guess it was a Dial of Destiny.
it was.
It really was, but it doesn't get me excited to watch the movie when you hear the
I mean, it would
title.
make more sense if this movie was The Last Crusade, because this is actually the last thing.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess when George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were first conceiving of the franchise, it was originally five films,
Interesting.
but they just cut it at Last Crusade.
But then Steven Spielberg came back for Crystal Skull in 2008. But this
Yeah.
one is directed not by Spielberg, but by James Mangold.
Yeah. The only one of the five not directed by Spielbergo.
I mean, I'm surprised and not surprised that Spielberg decided not to finish off Indiana Jones. Like, it feels like it's his baby that he would want to see it to the end. But
He was too busy with Fablemans to do.
oh, really? Is that his excuse?
I think so. I mean, because he was working hard on Fablemans and they started shooting this, I think, in 2021, 2022. And so he was deep in the Fableverse.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about your history with Mr. Jones.
Well, this is definitely a series that we would rewatch all the time at home. We had Temple of Doom and Last Crusade on VHS, and we would just throw those movies on all the time growing up. I don't think we had Raiders of the Lost Ark, so that's like, I feel like I've only seen that movie twice or something.
Hmm.
Like, even though that's like everyone says is the best one and like the most iconic one, I
Yeah.
feel like that's the one like I feel least versed in.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've watched Temple of Doom and Last Crusade a shit ton as a kid. And so
Yeah.
those movies are deep in my bones.
Yeah. Like I do not really have a very close relationship with the Indiana Jones franchise. Like I definitely have seen them. Like I remember watching them, but like the details are so murky for me. And I think that most of my memories are from Temple of Doom, which I guess like of the three people say is like the worst.
Yeah, I haven't revisited it, but like as an adult, really. But yeah, people
But
say it's like kind of culturally insensitive. And I know
yeah.
there's like definitely like a scene where like they're eating like chilled monkey brains and stuff
Yeah.
in India. And it feels, a little offensive maybe, but
Yeah. They're eating like
it's also,
snakes and
oh
stuff.
yeah, like there's like a big snake, and then they
Yeah.
like cut open the snake, and there's baby snakes inside. Yeah, but as a kid, I loved that shit. I was like,
Oh yeah.
this is like a feast for my eyes.
Yeah, no, I remember vividly, watching that scene with my dad and him being like, "Would you ever try monkey brains?" Like and me being like really grossed out by it. Yes, so like my memory is very hazy on the trilogy. It was never really like my cup of tea.
Yeah,
But I got to tell you, I saw Dial of Destiny last night and I had a blast. I thought it was so much fun.
Yeah.
The 2.5 hours just flew by for me.
Yeah, I'd agree. This is a fun blockbuster movie. This
Mm-hmm.
is a great time at the movies. I
Mm-hmm.
I missed it. Missed some of the beginning. So I like came
Oh,
in when it was already started. It was like still in the intro section where we get the deep faked young Harrison Ford
yeah.
in Nazi Germany.
What
So
what'd you think of that deep fake? And
I thought we were making fun of it for sure. But I honestly, for the most part, it did look pretty good. There was just like
yeah,
some moments, like I feel like when it was straight on, like it's like that looks really good. But like when he's like kind of more in motion, or you get like a
yeah,
side angle, then it's like, oh, he looks like a video game character.
yeah, yeah.
Looks like I'm playing Uncharted or something. Which was very funny.
When they take the bag off and there's that first face reveal, I was like, I did go like, whoa, like out loud. I was like, wow, they really nailed that. Like it looks like a young Harrison Ford. But then, yeah, as he starts talking and like moving his face, like there was like some like motion blur and like there's a few frames in there. Like I wish I could have it and like go frame by frame where it looked like his eye was like smeared. My friend Alex pointed out, he was just like, it's very uncanny valley to like see this young Harrison Ford with like the old Ford voice.
Right. You're also not used to seeing young Harrison Ford with like modern like 4K cameras,
Yeah.
like just like seeing like that high of visual quality like on a young Harrison Ford, that also is like kind of jarring.
Yeah.
Um so it was a little distracting, but ultimately I thought that intro section was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
it was cool. I like all the train stuff.
Hmm.
When they're doing like the little knife fight in like the tunnel, that was really cool.
Yeah. The train sequence was badass. It was very great way to open up the movie, kind of laid out the pieces, literal pieces of the dial and what was it, the lance, Christ's lance or whatever. And
Hitler's lance, or
I think it wasn't it like supposed to be like the dagger that like drew Christ's blood or something like that. And I think like Hitler wanted
maybe.
it.
Yes, Hitler wanted it, maybe.
Yeah. I like there was that scene where it's like they find out that the lance is fake. They're like, well, let's just get him something else. And it's like, oh yeah, let me tell like Hitler, like, oh, I'm sorry, Hitler. We didn't get you the right thing. Like, you want to tell Hitler that? Like a lot of the jokes in this movie landed for me. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I can't really remember a specific joke really, but
Oh, there's one when he's like first getting on the plane and there's that like kind of cameo from the guy from the older movies with the fez on.
oh yeah, you got John Rhys-Davies.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like, "Give him hell, Indiana Jones," and then he almost gets hit by a car.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
he
was pretty funny.
that's the same actor who played Gimli in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, how about that?
If you're a Gimli fan out there. But yeah, on the whole, I'd say Harrison Ford, he's doing a pretty good job in this movie.
Hmm.
I I think you can sense the age in his character, and I feel like he's a little bit more locked in this performance than with Crystal Skull, which I rewatched in preparation for this movie.
Oh,
And
how'd that go?
that movie's not great. It's not bad. It's definitely the worst Indiana Jones movie. I'd say this new
Hmm.
one, I prefer it to Crystal Skull.
Hmm.
Like the CG is pretty bad, and or it can be pretty bad in Crystal
Hmm.
Skull. And there's just some goofy action sequences that don't feel like they belong. And also Shia LaBeouf, I think, wasn't great. It wasn't a great choice. And he's like his main sidekick in that movie, playing his son.
Yeah,
And they just didn't have much chemistry with each other. And the kind of
they
the
just kill him off in
yeah,
this movie. They're just like, yeah, he died in the war.
which I was wondering if they were just like going to pretend he didn't even exist. So I was like kind of
Yeah,
relieved when they said that. It's like, oh, at least they're addressing it,
yeah,
because it takes a while before they even mention that that's what happened to him. I was like,
yeah,
maybe they're just going to pretend that that never happened.
yeah.
So I was glad they addressed it in some way and said that he died in like Vietnam, I'm assuming. Crystal Skull has some connections to Asteroid City, and that it's an alien story. It's set in
True.
like the beginning of the movie is like set in Area 51 in the desert, and there's
Uh-huh.
nuclear bomb testing going. We didn't even talk about that in Asteroid City, the whole nuclear bomb aspect of it.
Oh yeah. Well,
But
we'll be
yeah, that's
talking about that next episode.
yeah, definitely some nuclear stuff going on this summer.
Yeah, doesn't like Indiana Jones like hides in a lead refrigerator and survives like a nuclear bomb?
Yeah, which people criticize that for, but I like that. I thought that was funny from
Hmm.
that movie. But yeah, also in that movie, you also have Kate Blanchett as like a Russian villain in that movie, which I thought was not very good.
Mm,
Her like accent feels like it's like an improv student just trying on a Russian accent for like a scene. Like it just feels very
yeah.
basic kind of Russian stereotype, and I just
Hmm.
didn't think she worked in that movie. So, and comparing that with this new movie, I think the new sidekick really works. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think the new villain, Mads Mikkelsen, is great. So, comparing it in that aspect, I think this movie's much more successful and feels more like a real Indiana Jones movie than Crystal Skull does. So, yeah, Austin, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about Harrison Ford's sidekick in this movie, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character? Like, how did you like her? Do you like their dynamic?
Fleabag?
Yeah, flea bags and the new Indiana Jones.
I thought she did pretty good. She fit well and like, I thought like physically she fit the role very well. Like she could do some of the stunt work and she's believable as kind of like a badass.
Yeah, I thought Phoebe was great. I'm a big Fleabag fan, so it was
Hmm.
fun to see her again because she hasn't really been doing much acting really since
Yeah.
Fleabag, so I kind
Yeah,
of missed
yeah.
her. But I thought she was great. I thought she had great chemistry with Harrison Ford, but it's not
Yep.
romantic chemistry. It's just like it's like they have a familial connection. Like she
Hmm.
plays his goddaughter, but she's also really smart, and so like they can like play off each other really well. And I thought that was a big part of what made this movie work for me is their dynamic and
Yeah.
her character. I really enjoyed, and I think she's a cutie, and I want to go on a date with her. I think she's really cool.
I love her. I want to kiss her.
Wish she was my girlfriend.
Yeah, no, she's super cute. I did really like that scene where they're like, "You stole it from me, and then I stole it from you," and then she's like, "And I stole it back." That's capitalism. I thought that was good. Like all
Yeah.
those little like quirky dialogue scenes. I mean, I keep saying quirky because I drank a bunch of quirks. You know that seltzer drink,
uh,
quirk.
it's called Quirk.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a Chicago seltzer thing, but there's a
And
Chicago alcoholic seltzer called Quirk,
it's
and
affected your language.
I drank a bunch of them on 4th of July, and so now I'm feeling very quirky. Hey, how about Harrison Ford with his shirt off?
He's looking good.
I thought for a second that was CGI. It's like the second scene after the deep fake face, and I was like, did they like go from deep faking his face to deep faking his body?
Yeah.
But no, that's his real skin.
Yeah, you can see it sagging a bit, but it is pretty, he's got some muscles,
Yeah.
he's keeping fit.
Yeah, for an 80-year-old man. I mean, I think he said that he biked 40 miles every day and then took like long walks every day to get in shape for this movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like Harrison Ford like doing the press for this movie. I feel like he's really coming to his personality. But before I feel like he was just like
Hmm.
kind of quiet and didn't want to talk about anything, but now he's like kind of really owning up to this like I'm a cranky guy. But
Yeah,
he's like
yeah.
he does that really well. And
Oh
he's like
yeah.
super funny. Like I just listened to him on the Conan O'Brien this
Yeah.
podcast and it's so funny. He's like throwing shit right back at Conan and like it's like fuck you and all this shit. He's
Yeah,
like
there's been they've had that dynamic like pretty much going way back. Like if you look at old Conan interviews
Yeah.
with Harrison Ford, they're just like giving each other shit the whole time. But it's mainly just Harrison Ford giving Conan shit.
Yeah.
His personality as like Han Solo, Indiana Jones, like most of his characters are like kind of a snarky, cranky kind of guy. But like I feel like
Yeah.
as he's gotten older, it's like it fits him better.
Yeah.
And I just think he has like one of the best like interview demeanors. Like he just like does not give a shit.
Yeah, there's a good like some like person was interviewing or asking him a question about this movie, and she was talking about his shirtless scene in this and like how he still got it, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Thanks for noticing" or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like gives like kind of like creeped out like kind of response.
Yeah.
He's great. It's great to see him up on the silver screen again.
Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
any favorite sequences in this movie? I know I really liked the bit to where he's like gets up, he steals the cop's horse like
Yeah.
during the astronaut or like landing on the moon parade in New
Moon
York,
Day.
Moon Day.
Is
That
that
whole
really what they called that? Like the day the astronauts came back, did they call it Moon Day?
I don't know. I liked it. If they, I like
Oh
that
yeah,
they did
yeah.
it.
Yeah, they did. National Moon Day is July 20th. It's coming up.
Nice, nice. Yeah, but that whole sequence was really cool. Him riding the horse through the subway and like
Oh
dodging
yeah.
the trains,
Yeah,
like
yeah, that was
just
wild.
barely. I love that
Yeah.
shit. He dodges one, and then the other one's coming the other way. He's like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, it was exciting. I like that whole sequence of it. I mean, just the parade and then like when they're like going through the protest and he starts yelling like hell no, we won't go. And then he like grabs a peace sign and like smashes the guy over the head with it.
yeah. And that scene's kind of better knowing that his son died in the war too. It's
Right.
like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like actually got some actual vigor there.
I also appreciated the whole underwater scene and the eels as snakes. I was
Oh
like, I
yeah.
never even thought of that. Yeah, eels are like the snakes of the sea.
Yeah, because Indiana Jones famously hates snakes,
Yeah.
and there's like some kind of snake scene in like every movie.
Hmm.
So this was like their twist on a snake scene was the eels, which was fun.
They did a great job of like building the tension, like where like you can see the boat from underwater like sidling up to the other boat and you see like kind of like shadows of the Nazis like jumping onto the boat.
Yeah, like that whole scene on the boat with the dynamite too, where like
Yeah.
yeah, Phoebe's like kind of like playing along with them while like secretly like has the dynamite behind her back. That part was really tense and fun.
Yeah.
What do you think about like the ending with the time travel business? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so they go back to, well, I mean, the whole thing with the Dial of Destiny is that it's able to locate existing fissures in time. And the Nazi wants to go back to 1939 so that he can like kill Hitler and be like a better Hitler or like a better leader of the Nazis or something like that.
Yeah.
But they end up going back to 210, back to the Battle of Syracuse.
Yeah, I think Harrison Ford, he's like kind of talking about the Battle of Syracuse. So when he's like, they show him teaching one of his lectures as a professor in the beginning of the movie.
So the siege of Syracuse by the Roman Republic took place in 210 BC. The Romans successfully stormed the Hellenistic city of Syracuse after a protracted siege, giving them control of the entire island of Sicily.
Yeah, didn't the siege like lasted like over a year or something? Like it was like a
Yeah, yeah, it was like a year long. And yeah, during the siege, the city was protected by weapons developed by Archimedes, like these giant magnifying glasses that would harness the power of the sun and light the ships on fire, which is pretty fucking cool. I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah, Archimedes, he's kind of more of an obscure guy, but he's like Indiana Jones gets to meet Archimedes,
Yeah. So
and he's like my hero.
going back to when Indy is like a professor and he's talking about the Battle of Syracuse, no glasses.
Yeah, he's not wearing
Didn't
any
he?
glass.
Didn't he wear glasses anytime you see him as a professor in the old movies,
Yeah.
and now he's older and he doesn't wear glasses.
Yeah, that's
Sounds like a goof to me.
I didn't notice that, but that does seem like a bit of a goof.
Yeah. You
uh,
fucked up, Mangold. You fucked up. Give him his glasses.
but yeah, I liked him as an ordinary professor. Like he's like, "Come
Yeah.
on, guys," and
Yeah.
he's got the janky old projector and everything.
Yeah. He's
Like
like slapping those transparencies onto the projector.
yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah, but I did kind of like the time travel. Like I did, like if there was a part of me that was like, oh boy, like they're really like going for it, going back in time. But when you look back on all the Indiana Jones, like they all have some kind of like
Supernatural.
supernatural thing going on, like the aliens or like ghosts or
Pulling a heart out of the chest.
yeah.
There's always something that's otherworldly that happens in the third act.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense that they would do some time travel, but we almost encounter a world where Indiana Jones stays in history.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they didn't leave him there because I was like, man, if they leave him, but they did it so well. Like they just like, nope, that's not what happens. He gets punched and then he's back home.
Yeah. Phoebe Waller-Bridge punches him. It's like, no, you can't stay. You're gonna fuck up histories.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Indiana Jones. It's like he doesn't make history, he preserves it.
That's a good point. This belongs in a museum.
Exactly. But I did kind of feel like I was getting some like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure vibes when like he's talking to Archimedes.
Yeah, there is
like,
something.
Hey, Socrates.
Yeah, I couldn't really fully take that bit seriously. Like I get there was like an emotional thing for his character that he's like he really wants to stay because there's nothing for him and his current timeline, his wife left him, he's got a dead son. He doesn't like the hippies playing their Beatles. He's complaining about them playing Rolling
Stones. Like beat them with a bat.
Yeah.
For playing the Beatles. Like, chill out, man. It's Moon Day.
So I could see why he'd want to stay in a time that he's been like researching and fascinated by. Like it kind of makes sense for his character, but yeah, I'm glad he didn't stay there. And then you get the nice button of him getting back with Karen Allen at the end of the movie and presumably having sex, probably.
Just rubbing elbows.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really good time. I was like engaged in it. It wasn't that confusing. Even though I didn't like get all the references to like the past movies, like it had the same energy of those older movies. Like I loved when he goes into the cave and there's just like those classic like puzzles, like the water displacement puzzle that opens up the like ramp down into the cave and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I'm here for it. Like give me more of that.
When I watch this movie, it feels like, oh, they're just like playing the greatest hits here. Like it's just like it's like kind of like versions of things you've already seen before, which I liked and also didn't like in some ways. Like I wish it was like maybe doing some new stuff. Like they have the additional sidekick.
Teddy.
Yeah, he's like kind of like a short round kind of minority kid, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean he was doing his own thing. So like they're doing twists on all these familiar Indiana Jones tropes and familiar action sequences, like a fight scene in a plane. Like that was done in Temple of Doom and stuff. And yeah, the snakes and like there's a bug scene, which is a big part in Temple of Doom, where there's big scary bugs. They're redoing that.
Yeah,
I liked that, and I also was like, all right, I've seen this before, but at the end of the day, this is a good movie, and I kind of want to see it again. My mom really wants to see it.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to go see it again in theaters with her because she's a big Indiana Jones fan. So it sounds like you would rank Indiana Jones over Asteroid City.
I would at this present moment. I would say it's like a better, summer movie. Like I feel like Asteroid City is very heady. It's like it has fun parts, but it's not necessarily like a fun time at the movies. It's beautiful. It's great to see. Like, but like if you're just looking for like just pure blockbuster, have a good time, I would do Indiana over Asteroid.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to recommend Indiana for the general movie viewing public over Asteroid City. Asteroid City is very much for the Wes Anderson nerds out there. But if you like Wes Anderson, I think there's a lot for you to dig into with this one.